One of the advantages of driving an EV is the ability to charge it at home, but there are so many different avenues you can go down. I'm Frugal Tesla Guy, and I'm going to show you just one of your options. If you watched my wrap-up video of the California takeover in San Luis Obispo at the Madonna Inn, then you saw there were several YouTube influencers, food vendors. It was family-friendly with ways to keep your kids entertained. There were a lot of modded out Teslas and, of course, a lot of vendors. Now, some of them you've seen on my channel before, but there were also a lot of others there I hadn't met before, like Dan Liddell, the founder of Splitvolt. And I had an opportunity to chat with him to learn more about his company and his flagship product. So tell me what Splitvolt is all about.
Splitvolt is about helping with the adoption of electric vehicles for normal people. We're not talking early adopters necessarily, they like the product too, but it's meant for people who don't know or understand that much about what it means to be an electric vehicle, to have an electric vehicle, and we want to make that process easy. And the starting point for us was, it's very difficult to get fast home charging. Fast home charging is, as you know, is the least expensive and best way to charge your electric vehicle. And so instead of having to have an electrician come out and install a dedicated circuit that can cost $1,000, take weeks and require permitting.
Yeah, I personally got a quote for, I think it was $1,500. So yeah, that's a big chunk.
It's tremendous, right, and then the time and then the permitting.
Yeah.
But I realized the dryer circuit is already in the home. It's a 240 volt circuit sitting there unused almost the entire day. So we invented a device that lets you share in an automatic and safe way, share that dryer circuit with your EV charger. So the idea is you plug it in, takes you about 1 minute to plug in, and then it will fast charge your electric vehicle anytime that the dryer's not running. Whenever the dryer runs, it automatically pauses the charging, and then it automatically resumes when it's done. So the next day your car is fully charged, you were able to use your 240 volt circuit that you already have, and you didn't spend $1,000 and take weeks to set it up. So that's the basic idea of the Splitvolt splitter switch.
Okay. Safety, right? People are concerned about you're using too much amperage, whatever.
Yeah.
Safety. What are the safety precautions you have with yours?
We spend a lot of time thinking about that. Recognizing it's 240 volt power, people have concerns about that. We want to make sure everything's safe. So we follow the standards. We care a ton about that. So everything from doing certifications, safety certifications is all really important and necessary, but it's not anywhere near enough. And here's what we've learned over time. Now we're selling all across the country, thousands and thousands of units deployed, great results, high rankings, all that. But the fundamental truth around safety is this. Number one, the National Electric Code says you have to charge at only 80% of what a circuit says it should charge to. And most people don't know that, and you shouldn't have to know that. So our device has an internal safety circuit breaker in it that will not let you accidentally overcharge or overdraw your current. It will trip right there and stop everything automatically, and so you can't do it even accidentally. So that's very important. The other thing is really important is having a real-time power display so you can actually see by looking at the device what's happening. How much power is my car used? What's the voltage? What's the amperage? Now you don't need to look at that. Normal people don't care, but it's important to be able to if you want to know what's going on. And then other things that are important is our device, it shares that dryer circuit with your EV charger and it switches full power to one or the other. Never would run both sockets at the same time because that would overdraw your existing wiring. So it will switch power, and if the dryer's running, it pauses charging on the EV, and whenever the dryer's not running, it's providing full fast charging for your electric vehicle.
What would you say to the average person who's getting an EV? What would you say to them is the best way to charge? Because, you know, a lot of them that come with the 110, basically you can plug it into your regular 110 outlet,
yeah,
and it's a trickle charge.
Yeah.
What are the advantages of kind of going up to that next level from a trickle charge to the level 2?
There's two major differences. With the current EV technology, as you know very well, the ranges are so long on the vehicles that you need to charge reasonably quickly now. Before, when the range was only maybe 20 or 60 or 80 miles, you could get by with a slow, normal 110 plug, which charges about 3 or 4 miles an hour. But when you have long range, you really need to charge at a level 240 volts, much faster, because that's the only way you can charge a 300 mile range vehicle in a reasonable amount of time. So you're going to need to do that. And basically, it's about 7 times faster charging. And so that's exactly what this device in particular, the Splitvolt splitter switch, would do. So that's one of the reasons, right? If you're adding it only 3 miles an hour, it's going to take a long time to charge a 300-mile range. But if you're charging at 21 miles an hour, it's really quick and easy for you to do that. One other thing that most people are not aware of, and this is an important safety consideration for the trickle chargers. When you're plugging in a 120 volt or 110 volt plug into a normal wall socket to charge your vehicle, that charger is assuming that there's nothing else on that circuit. 110 and 120 volt plugs in your home are on multiple plug sockets in your house. You might have another device, a heater or other device pulling on that same exact circuit. And now your trickle charger EV is trying to pull the maximum safe amount. So you could absolutely overload your normal 110 or 120.
And then if you had a device like yours, it would just trip it.
Well, in our case, absolutely. But our case is for the 240 only. But that's why, exactly right. So in a 240 setting, it absolutely makes sure that you're not overdrawing the circuit. 240 are dedicated circuits, and so it would not ever run both the dryer and the charger at the same time.
That with the 110, you do run that risk.
Right, because they're connected to many ports in the house, and no one else would even know that they're doing that.
And I've seen that happen at my house. I remember I was doing some 110 charging, and my circuit breaker kept tripping.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, so yeah, I definitely see that. Another question is, there are other products out there like this. Why you over anybody else?
I would say, first of all, we are the innovator of the space. We designed and developed and rolled this out. There's other people who came out with similar concepts, but not the same product. Ours is patented. We have our design and the components in ours are much safer. So for instance, if there's a device that doesn't have a screen on it, you can't see what's happening. If it doesn't have an internal circuit breaker, there's not one with an internal circuit breaker in that device, then it's not going to protect your home. We did see a knockoff company that put an internal circuit breaker, but they put a 32 amp rated circuit breaker in there, which doesn't help at all. It doesn't protect anything. It's even worse. So the point is, ours is the only device with the internal circuit breaker set at the maximum NEC safe charging rate. It's the only device that also has a display on it. It's got a pigtail connector so you can plug into the wall regardless of the orientation. So these are really important, and this is a unique aspect of our product. The other thing is we thought a lot about users and usability. And some other devices you might have to try and configure, and then you run the risk that you have the numbers wrong and you overload your circuit. Our device makes sure that it's very simple. You cannot mess it up. You set it down, plug, 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 on, and you're done. And it's safe, and if anything happens, it's accidentally overdrawing, the charger is pulling too much from it, it would just trip and protect it.
Excellent.
That's unique to our product.
Now, if you're interested in this product, I've got a link for you in the description below. And based on what I've seen, I'm very impressed with what Dan and his team has developed. But the proof is in the pudding. And I'll be doing an in-depth review of this Splitvolt splitter switch in the weeks to come. Now, it's also exciting to know that they are also ready to announce some new products that I also plan to get my hands on.
We have some really exciting additional products coming out on the horizon, and we're at the stage now where we're just growing and trying to spread the word. So we'd love to share as much information, and we're happy to answer questions too if people wonder about what this means and how it all works.
To be continued. But in the meantime, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and stay positively charged.